Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Tech Guys Who Invest podcast, where each week you learn how to invest wisely and safely. Now, the way that you learn is going to be from action, and you can also learn from active investors like Adam and I. In fact, before we hit record, Adam and I were just chatting about some lessons that we're learning as we're going through our investor journey. And we said, you know what? We have to record this and share this with our listeners. So you're going to hear kind of effectively a live take of the lessons that we've just learned from our interesting opportunities. And Adam's got a really funny one that highlights how long it can take to get an opportunity, but I don't want to do too much spoiling of it. Adam, why don't you share with us what that opportunity actually is?
All right. So it is a fix and flip opportunity. And it did just sort of come out of nowhere from my perspective. So I got a call a few days ago that someone was wanting to know if I wanted to buy their house. And it was interesting because I recognized the area code as the place I grew up. So that got me very interested. And so I called the person back, and it turned out the seller had seen me at a cash flow game that you and I have done, Kevin.
Uh huh.
And she remembered me from that. And meanwhile, I had sent out some mailers. And this was like 2 or 3 years ago. I had sent out some mailers to this neighborhood saying, "Hey, interested in buying houses in this area. If you're interested in selling, let me know." So apparently she had gotten one of those and hung on to it. And I sort of put two and two together there and figured that out. Um, and and so a couple years later, yeah, I get this phone call, and she's ready to sell the house. So I just thought that was just so crazy. Like all these different things happened that came together. And the other thing that was really interesting is as we were talking, it turned out we knew some of the same people from earlier stages in life when I lived there, and she had lived there at some point. So it was just kind of an interesting situation.
So it was 2, 3 years in the making. It wasn't an overnight thing. So if you're investing actively out there, it doesn't mean that if you didn't get a response the first time that it's end all be all. That's where the perseverance comes in. That's where length in the game comes in. What did you learn from this opportunity other than the persistence aspect?
Yeah, there is that. And I think around that is hustle and putting yourself out there instead of sitting on the couch and watching reruns that night. I was with you at a cash flow game, and we were trying to add value to people's lives and help them learn about investing. And so getting out there and by providing that exposure, uh, people started to know who I am. And right. Also, by mailing the letters, taking action there, putting a little investment into my marketing, and that also opened up this opportunity. So a couple things in there.
Yeah, I would make the argument that if you're going to invest wisely, it's going to be there's a somewhat of an active component to it. And what I mean by that is if you are a passive investor in a syndication or a note participation partnership type of thing or a note fund, you should be doing your research. You should be researching the people you're going to be investing with like you would research a tech company like Apple or Tesla or Google. Know what you're investing in. Should you know all the technical stuff? No, but know enough to make you comfortable, and then ask others around you to figure out, hey, what is this? What do I need to look for? Because it's your hard-earned money and no one's going to take care of it as much as you will. So you
Yeah.
should do that active component. Otherwise, it's no different than gambling.
Something else that was pretty interesting in terms of a lesson learned from this whole thing is um, sort of making the opportunity work. I had to get creative about it because I'm not looking to flip houses, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I always check first, of course, to see if I could just turn it into a rental, but the numbers just wouldn't work that way. So I'm thinking an option would be to flip it, and I don't have experience flipping. So I'm not comfortable with a lot of the things that I would want to be comfortable with taking this project on. So I started thinking, how could I do this? Well, I could JV with someone. So I reached out to an investor friend of mine who does flip houses and is a buy and hold investor. He does all kinds of real estate stuff, and presented it to him, and he was interested in it. That gave me more confidence. He was able to validate some of the analysis I had done, but I knew he had a lot of experience behind him. And I had a lot of confidence when we were talking that if I partnered with him, we could make this work.
Okay. So have you thought about why flipping? Why not wholesale it to get it out of your way as a transaction, first of all? And then I'll ask another question after that.
Yeah, I kind of thought about that. I'm not interested in wholesaling at all. One of the things about wholesaling that I don't really like is I feel like if you can't get the contract flipped, you sort of hose the person. I mean, she actually had a reason why she needs to move it fairly quickly. And if she
Gotcha.
can't do that, it puts her in a worse position than she's in now. And I don't really want to do that to someone. So I didn't like that aspect of it. And she is aware of what wholesaling is and didn't want to sign an assignable contract either.
Gotcha. What about maybe selling on terms? Selling it, buying it seller finance or something, unless obviously she has a particular need. Or when you guys flip it and you were looking at a rental wouldn't work, but maybe seller financing it from there or owner financing it rather.
Yeah, we would and could consider those types of options when it came time to sell it. And I think me and the person I would partner with would both be comfortable looking at those types of options as well.
Love it. That's awesome. I love that. That's a good lesson you learned from just being an investor. Like that just happens. Things of that nature tend to occur when you're constantly in the game.
Yeah, one big thing I learned from this is just figure out what you need to do to make yourself feel more comfortable so you can make something like this work. And I kept coming up against the fact that contractors are not available right now. And I was worried that if I took it on and tried to do it myself, I would run into an issue where I couldn't get contractors to do the work. And then I would end up sitting on this thing forever. And that would be a really bad situation. But as soon as I talked to my investor friend, all of that changed because he has connections, he has access to contractors and some crews and different things like that. So the point there is find out what it is that's making you uncomfortable to move forward and take action or preventing you from taking action on an opportunity and try to address that. Figure out what you can do to remove that impediment to you moving forward so you can take action and potentially make some money.
I love it. That's an awesome story, anecdote for sharing that.
Yeah, I think it's cool that we share this kind of stuff with our audience because we really just want to share with you all really interesting lessons that we learn along the way in hopes that it helps you in some way. And also, sometimes it's neat to just see a glimpse into the life of someone and what's happening in an area that you're interested in. So, we hope this was a valuable episode for you guys.
If you have any questions or you want us to help analyze a deal, or if you just want to chat with us, send us an email, techguyswhoinvest@gmail.com, and we're happy to help out however we can. Thanks, everybody.
Have a great week.